Welcome back to my page. Today's drill is just basic slow work, although this is the way I like to do it. This drill reinforces body position and footfall on the pattern, reinforces rate points, may help with anxious horses, but most likely it won't, as most barrel racers will know. Overworking on the pattern will result in anxiety or burnout in horses and just gets them frustrated, and can cause a lot of other issues, sometimes even gait issues, which is not a battle you want to fight. I do this drill once in a while. Again, I don't want to overwork the pattern with her. I'll usually do it the week before a race, early in the week, just to kind of check out oh hey, this is where we might be having issues. Because normally she's pretty solid and I like to do other drills, but I just like to show her the barrel pattern before we go to a race, just so she's getting ready mentally. Do not overdo this drill. Do not do it often. You know, as we know, working the horses constantly on the barrel pattern gives them a lot of anxiety and a lot of issues. The only reason I say it might help with an anxious horse is that if you do this drill starting fast and working to slower, the idea is to walk through the pattern until your horse is calm, but I don't really like to do it that way. So building off of that, the person that I got this drill from instructs to lope in and then trot around the barrels and do through the pattern twice, and then move on to trotting and walking around the barrels twice, and then walking until calm. I usually prefer to start slower with the walk, and then build up the trot into the trot and then into the canter. But I've done this drill both ways. I just prefer to start slower because I'm all about building those foundations and getting the horse comfortable in their work. So let's get on. Here's a picture of the drill just to provide a better visual for what we will be doing. So I'm starting out today with just walking because she hasn't seen this drill in a while, so I just want her to get warmed up to it. I ask her to stop at my rate point at that pole, and then I'm asking her to turn the same way I would in a barrel pattern, making sure to keep my circle even on all sides of the pole and really holding her in shape. I was happy with those, so I send her off to the next one. And then again, I will stop her at my rate point, which for me, I like to use by her hip or my back girth. I just found that's what works better for her. And again, I ask her to do a circle with that pole perfectly in the center, the same amount of space on all sides of it, before I ask her to move off again. I try to make sure to really close off my turn, especially going from second to third. She really likes to swing out there, so I kind of try and reinforce that in my training. Here she spooks at the floppy barrel a little bit, hasn't seen it in a while, so she has to look at it funny, but she stopped exactly where I wanted her to, and then I ask her to move off again, and I circle a few times, just trying to make sure, really getting that foot position solid. And then I really like to extra close off this turn as well and head just straight to the wall. And next we are moving on to the trot. So I trot her in and then I ask her to stop at that rate point. She stopped really nicely there. I have her stand for a second and then I ask her to walk. Whenever you do a turn, you always want to break down your gait by one speed, just to kind of reinforce that rate and get them off of their forehand. So now I bump her back up to the trot, and of course I pick up the incorrect diagonal. I fixed it just in time to ask her to stop. She stopped a little bit more past it than what I wanted, but it was alright by me. So again, I ask her to circle at the walk. She kind of wanted to pick up the trot there, so I just keep her calm and keep asking her to walk, and eventually she does. Again, I'm really extra about closing off that turn. I asked her for that trot again. She tried to send it a little too much. I asked her to stop. She stopped a little past where I wanted, so I asked her to back a little. And then I asked her to move forward again, just to kind of get right at that rate point before I really ask her to go into that turn. Again, I'm just making sure I'm keeping equal amount of space on all sides of the barrel. Really asking her for how I want her to turn, and then extra closing off on that turn. And lastly, I ask her for the lope.
She was a little bit more sticky about asking for right here, but she always rates really good at the first one when we're doing drills. And then again, since we were cantering in, I'm asking her to trot. She's circling a little bigger than I want, but I still decide to send her off. Picks up the lead a little late, but it's alright. She picked up the correct one. Here, she isn't turning the way I want her to, so instead of turning twice like I have been, I turned her a few more times until I was really happy with the circle. She wanted to dive in on that back end and not listen to me, so I made her go out extra wide so I could bring her in at a better angle, and that way I could get the turn that I wanted, which I did. So then I sent her off to the next one. She didn't pick up the canter, but it's alright. I'm in a really small space, so I don't have much time to pick up my canter. And then we, again, trotted, and she was diving in a little bit on that back side, so I made her circle an extra time almost, and then we were all done.
All right, and that is the drill. As with any drill, just take your time, allow your horse to really understand what's going on. Do not aim for perfection in those first few rides. I say this all the time, but just look for improvement. Perfection takes time, and just look for the little things that's going to start establishing those bigger things. Again, do not overdo this drill. I will normally, when I do this drill, only do each gait 1 to 2 times before moving on to the next one, or until I get at least one good barrel turn if we're having an off day, because, horses are more like us than we think, and they can have bad days too. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.